here comes the non-real world again. And if Trump gives a speech tonight saying, I won and everything else is theft, oh boy. So now begins the period of time where the right wing begins to agitate, to say the least, and see what kind of damage they can do. And that's why a Biden blowout was really important, so that we avoided the right wing madness and potential violence. So,
and Cenk, it's still possible if he wins those states, if he wins Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, if Georgia stays turned in that direction, he wins Nevada and he wins Arizona. That's a big Biden win.
Yeah, as I explained, that's exactly the math that I laid out, where he gets a 307, and that's a relatively big win, but it's wasn't decisive enough on election night, where when Trump says they stole it, everybody else goes, yeah, you gotta go home. Look, weirdo loser, you gotta go home. Stop talking, right? And so who would say that?
Cenk, very quickly, it's a lot like 2018 when we were doing this, right? It was a decisive win. The Democrats won the House in 2018, but because of the way Florida didn't work out at that time with their, when you saw that Ron DeSantis beat Andrew Gillum, and then you also saw that Bill Nelson lost to Rick Scott. It seemed like, this isn't going very well. Then Beto O'Rourke lost to Ted Cruz. But when you looked at it on the whole of it, it was a really great night for Democrats that night. That's sort of what this has the feeling of being, that it's not exactly how you thought, but the way that it was rolled out at the beginning of the movie was really disappointing.
So let me start with Nando on this one, and then we'll go around. What happens within the Republican Party if the non-insane people, and by that I don't mean non-bad guys, I mean people like Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, who are terrible people, but they're not insane. If they know that Trump has lost, but Trump is saying, no, I haven't lost, they stole it, what does McConnell and Graham do? What does the Republican Party do? Do they go all in and go, yeah, that's right, they stole it, that's it, everybody get in the streets, that's it, we're gonna take it to the courts? Or do they tell Trump, shut up, you gotta go? I don't know the answer to that. I have no idea what the answer is. Nando, you take the first shot.
Well, when McConnell sort of blocked the second round of stimulus, I assumed it was because he knew Trump was toast in the election, and he was actually pretty relieved to be rid of him in some way, and that he knew that he could block any sort of meaningful reform from a Biden administration and play his luck in 2022 to retake whatever losses they sustained in this election. But with the Republican Party, I just don't think I can safely assume any good faith or any sort of higher civic virtue. I mean, they stole it in 2000. It was obviously a much closer election, but it's also been 20 years. And in those 20 years, the Republican Party has become much more brazen than they even were back then. And so I think someone like McConnell has no morals and will kind of wait and see. I think he'll take a wait and see approach to see if Republican state legislatures in places like Pennsylvania or whatever start playing ball and they sense that they can get away with it. I think they'll go with it, but I don't think they're going to go to the mattresses for Trump. I think that they know that I don't think they feel that threatened by a Biden presidency. I think they feel confident in being able to block any meaningful sort of redistributive policies, which is what they really care about. And they can take their chances in 2022 and then 2024 and beyond.
Michael, what's your take? What do you think the Republican leadership does if they're pretty sure? No, they're absolutely sure that Biden has won, but they think they might be able to get away with it, but they're not sure, and Trump is definitely trying to get away with taking it. What do you think they do?
Well, look, tonight proved that the Trump brand isn't as toxic to so many of these people as my predictive analysis thought that it would prove tonight. You have senators winning re-election in states that you didn't think they would win re-election. You have members of Congress. Now the Democrats are going to expand their lead, but not to the levels I thought they would have expanded their lead. So so there are definitely going to be people that come to the president's side in this battle. It's going to be very difficult in some places. I mean, here in Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court made a ruling that ballots could be counted if they came in after Election Day. The U.S. Supreme Court upheld it. It was a 5-3 that it was upheld by the Supreme Court because Coney Barrett wasn't there yet, or she hadn't been there long enough to have heard the case. So I do think you're going to see more Republicans stick by the president in this case than you ordinarily would have if the president had this stink on them that they were running from. Clearly, it hasn't hurt in down ballot races thus far tonight, and I think that makes a big difference.
All right, now I got to ask the question. All right, then what's their percentage chance of being able to steal it? But before I get to John on that, I want you guys to understand, if it indicates that Donald Trump has actually won Pennsylvania, which right now that is not the case, none of these are the case. But if it turns out he has won Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona or Michigan, and he won the election, that's not stealing it, that's just winning the election. And as much as I want Democrats to be super tough fighters, I don't want them to lie, and I want them to believe in and carry out and live in a democracy, as odious and unthinkable as a second Trump term would be. And I literally have not even thought about it. Maybe we'll do that a little bit later tonight too. But I'm not talking about what if Trump wins. I'm talking about what if it is absolutely clear that he did not win, or absolutely clear enough. And he says, no, I won, which is what he's threatening to do right now. John, let me start with you. What do you think happens next?
Yeah, really fast, I'll add that New York Times has also called Texas for Trump. So that's unfortunate. Really would have loved that country, that state that I lived in for a number of years flip, but unfortunately it's not gonna happen. In terms of what will they do, what will Mitch McConnell do, what will all the other Republicans do, I don't see almost any reason to believe they will do anything other than that which has a chance of getting them more power. I look back and I try to find what are the places where Trump has gone too far for them. And I can sort of find one about 6 months ago when he sort of hinted that he might want to postpone the election. A lot of Republicans said, no, we're not gonna do that. And other than that, I think that's about it. Everything else he's done, no matter how crazy, they will either go along with or pretend that they haven't seen the tweet. And the thing is, the reason for that is, there used to either be or seem to be a cost for doing things. You would say, sure, they might do that, but it'll cost them in some way. Even with Amy Coney Barrett, we were talking about how that's gonna cost them in the next election. I don't think anything costs anything anymore. I think that Mitch McConnell can go along with trying to steal it, and either they steal it, in which case, cha-ching, they've got the White House, or they don't, and who cares? Like, he's so obviously hypocritical, so obviously doesn't care about whether people live or die. He just got reelected, he doesn't care. I don't think there's a cost to literally anything. I don't think you can be shamed. I think that they understand that their base wants them to wield power. And if they try to do that, then that's enough for them, that's it. So I think they'll do whatever they think gives them the best chance of maintaining their grip on power.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.